welcome to October Reading List. I am Shaatir. Hi. Anyway, इस महीने I am reading The Bed of Procrustes by Nassim Taleb. Nassim Nicholas Taleb. Always confuses his name. NNT. जैसे नील नितिन मुकेश ऐसे NNT. Philosophical and practical aphorisms. Aphorism basically it's like a clever observation contained within a statement. ठीक है. तो of course if you don't know who Nassim Nicholas Taleb is, बहुत ही मशहूर fearless philosopher slash risk engineer slash mathematician slash flaneur, एक नया word सीखा है. That's on his Twitter bio. Flaneur is someone who basically makes strolling their profession. मतलब पूरा टाइम टहलने वाला ये philosopher. Now it reads, The Bed of Procrustes takes its title from the Greek myth of a man who made his visitors fit his bed to perfection, either by stretching them or cutting their limbs. It represents Taleb's view of modern civilization's hubristic side effects, modifying humans to satisfy technology, blaming reality for not fitting economic models, inventing diseases to sell drugs, defining intelligence as what can be rested in a classroom, and convincing people that employment is not slavery. Playful and irreverent, these aphorisms will surprise you by exposing self-delusions you have been living with but never recognized. ठीक है? This is particularly helpful for any of you जिनको mental models का बहुत शौक है. अगर आप Twitter threads पे mental models पढ़ते हैं या understand करते हैं, इस चैनल पे मैंने पहले Art of Thinking Clearly और The Art of the Good Life दोनों के बारे में बातचीत करी है, थोड़ा उनका विश्लेषण भी करा है. Both of those are books about how to have better mental models, सोचने के तरीके reality के बारे में, right? So this just contains, इसके अंदर जैसे क्या है, he advises कि एक दिन में 4 से ऊपर मत पढ़ना. छोटे छोटे जैसे कबीर के दोहे होते हैं, इस तरह से इसके अंदर दोहे हैं. For example, I'll read a couple. Don't trust a man who needs an income except if it is minimum wage. फिर इसके अंदर नीचे asterisk में लिखा हुआ है, those in corporate captivity would do anything to feed a family. एक और है इसके अंदर, let's take a random page. The first one who uses but has lost the argument. Another one. Much of the difference between what is work and what is leisure is branding. To become a philosopher, start by walking very slowly. It is perplexing but amusing to observe people getting extremely excited about things you don't care about. It is sinister to watch them ignore things you believe are fundamental. And the book is the only medium left that hasn't been corrupted by the profane. Everything else on your eyelids manipulates you with an ad. That's Nassim Nicholas Taleb for you. अगर आपने इसकी किताबें द ब्लैक स्पॉन, एंटी फ्रेजाइल, स्किन इन द गेम, फूल बाय रैंडमनेस ये सब नहीं पढ़ी हैं, एंड यू थिंक दैट in reading in general might be a bit too advanced for you, you don't have the bandwidth yet to read books that have just a lot of words, that have complexity embedded into it. Complexity इसके अंदर भी है, but it's a helpful, if you know, people often ask you what is the first book I should read, ठीक है? So instead of going for the casual alchemist, reading a comic, you can start with this, क्योंकि इसके अंदर छोटे 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 aphorisms, aka quotes, observations हैं that you can just keep by your bedside or on your desk and read, and each of them will trigger you to think about reality differently. ठीक है ना? Financial Times कहता है, Taleb's crystalline nuggets of thought stand alone like esoteric poems. समझ रहे हो? तो this is fantastic. I keep revisiting it because इसके अंदर इतना सब कुछ है to unpack in these little one line, two line वाले जो quotes हैं, that it's a book that you can keep reading and it will never get old. So this is Nassim Nicholas Taleb's The Bed of Procrustes, Philosophical and Practical Aphorisms, right? ये एक. Now, this just came in this morning. This is Choke by Chuck Palahniuk, a man I often mention on this channel. Choke is one of the most famous books by this author. The other is, of course, Fight Club. He's come out with a new book called The Invention of Sound. I was going to get that, but it wasn't available. So I decided to visit this because I haven't read it. The other book that I've read by this author is Survivor, which is also great. Modern civilization के अंदर हर चीज़ commodified है. Experience, emotion, thought, सब कुछ. That's what Palahniuk believes. So this book, Independent on Sunday, says Choke is Fight Club for sex addicts. Right? That's quite a bold statement to make, but let's read the back. Victor Mancini has devised a complicated scam to pay for his mother's hospital care. Pretend to be choking on a piece of food in a restaurant, and the person who saves you will feel responsible for you for the rest of their lives. Multiply that a couple hundred times, and you generate a healthy flow of checks week in, week out. Victor also works at a theme park with a motley group of losers, cruises sex addiction groups for action, and visits his mother, whose Alzheimer's disease now hides what may be the startling truth about his parentage. What is interesting to observe here is that the whole idea about getting to sex addiction groups for action is eerily similar to जिस तरह से Marla Singer और Tyler Durden Fight Club की movie के अंदर मिलते हैं. They keep going to different groups, right, to find interesting people to keep themselves occupied. So Palahniuk के बारे में scene क्या है? He writes about characters that no one would dare to write about. Characters who are low, down and out, जिनकी choices, जिनके moral compass को आप debate करके बोल सकते हो, fuck, मैं ऐसा बिल्कुल ना करता. And yet, what is marvelous about him, जितनी भी मैंने इसकी किताबें पढ़ी हैं, the books I've read from him, the podcasts I've listened to, he's a master of building tension, building, but instead of the usual catharsis that you get in any novel, he leaves you with that tension. So now it is incumbent upon you कि तुम उस tension को कैसे break करते हो. Which is why, if you're looking for a sincere, simple, but absolutely dangerous read on what is possible in modern civilization, how much can you amplify your fears and make them worse, look no further than Chuck Palahniuk's Choke. Okay? That is number 2. Obviously, because October is a heavy launch-centric month, have one cohort and one course coming out. So, I am also reading The Effective Executive, The Definitive Guide to Getting the Right Things Done by Peter F. Drucker. Now, you might complain, अगर आप इस चैनल के एक recurring subscriber हो, यार ये किताब तो मैंने पहले भी आपकी लिस्ट के अंदर देखी थी. That is true. But if you know that, also know that on this channel, at least the philosophy that I propound, the philosophy that I practice is, you don't have to read books from cover to cover, right? So initially मैंने इस किताब को थोड़ा सा पढ़ा था, but due to other pressing concerns, lack of interest, I left it. Now once again, my life is demanding that I better make use of my time and become more productive and do the right things so that I have peace of mind and I can operate under pressure of launching whatever I'm trying to launch and just manage my team, my thoughts, my emotions, my attention better and be as effective as possible. उस सबको करने के लिए, this is Peter Drucker is a giant of management literature. So let's read the blurb to see what it says. What makes an effective executive? The measure of the executive, Peter F. Drucker reminds us, is the ability to get the right things done. This usually involves doing what other people have overlooked, as well as avoiding what is unproductive. Intelligence, imagination, and knowledge may all be wasted in an executive job without the acquired habits of mind that mold them into results. Drucker identifies 5 practices essential to business effectiveness that can and must be learned. Number 1, managing time. Number 2, choosing what to contribute to the organization. Number 3, knowing where and how to mobilize strength for best effect. Number 4, setting the right priorities. Number 5, knitting all of them together with effective decision making. Ranging widely through the annals of business and government, Peter F. Drucker demonstrates the distinctive skill of the executive and offers fresh insights into old and seemingly obvious business situations. I think executive word के ऊपर the biggest myth or misconception is कि ये वो लोग हैं जो corporate काम करते हैं, 9 to 5 करते हैं. This is not for the disruptors of the 21st century. This is not for entrepreneurs. Well, I will tell you, anyone who is a knowledge worker, कोई भी ऐसा इंसान who accumulates knowledge and then packages it to either be a productive member of any organization, to be an effective entrepreneur, is an executive, right? Because you execute on things, you make decisions, right? You are responsible for results. इस sense के अंदर, this literature applies to our modern day problems as well. With the biggest problem, जैसे मैंने video के अंदर, if you watch the video on Tuesday, I talked about there is a difficulty that we often face, and that is decision-making fatigue. When you are the sole proprietor of your venture, when you are the one who not only creates, but then also makes decisions on finance, but then also runs operations, बड़ा likely है ऐसा that you lose bandwidth and you lose focus, right? Because you are invested in several things at once, right? Which in essence deems you ineffective. So how do you become the effective executive? Well, you can try and read this book. Is mahine, in the month of October, I'm only going to try to keep my reading compressed to these books so that I can focus on building and creating. However, from time to time, I will also flip through the various books that are now strewn around my room for inspiration, for insight, just to get some novelty in my head. But generally ये 3 किताबें हैं. Now if you like these books, you can purchase them. You can EPUB that shit, whatever you want. And if you want more book recommendations, if you like this reading list, if you would like to add other books that maybe you're reading and start a little comments chain, you can do that. Comment section के अंदर हम लोग अपना writing cohort launch कर रहे हैं in late October. So if you are interested to generally just sign up for my mailing list, to sign up for my newsletter, where I will give you access to the frameworks, the funny things that I'm reading, the frameworks that I use for my life, creativity, जो भी interesting चीज़ें मैं पढ़ रहा हूँ, ideas that I think are valuable, all of those things. Along with, if I'm announcing any special meetups, which will only be, newsletter exclusive, कोई discounts होंगे. Basically, it's like a private community where beyond YouTube and all the other platforms that we all engage in, it's a sort of personalized way of interacting with my community, because I realized Discord promotes Discord. Let's just put it like that. Okay? And you can look up the word Discord to know exactly what I mean. So you can sign up for my mailing list. It's writinghabit.in. वहाँ पे जाके अपना email छोड़ दो and I'll start sending you emails. I think it'll be good. It's my long-term goal to eventually move as much of my audience as possible to a platform where I can be most honest and most detailed in the things I share. Even now in this video, it's not a very commercial video, but still YouTube provides constraints, Twitter provides constraints, newsletters, emailing lists provide none of those. Just a way to really interact better and get access to special stuff that's happening. ठीक है, तब तक के लिए इतना ही यार, and don't forget to subscribe, like करना, share करना, and I will see you in the next video. Shaatir out.